Welcome. In this chapter, we're going to talk about legibility and color just for a quick second, and then we're going to go into the character panel and talk about some shortcuts in the next chapter. Now, if you notice here, we're using sans serifs. This is what we talked about the last lesson. And, typical sans serifs are Arial, Verdana, Tahoma, Impact. These are great for the web, easy to read. And as you can see here, this is easy to read. It's a green against a white background. There's a great contrast between the two. By the way, the green color is picked up from the foreground color here, or as you can see here. Now, what would happen if we change the color? Now, let's change it to a brown color. Now it's a little bit harder to see, right? So you can imagine if this was in print in a magazine or on a web, a customer or client is not going to take the time to read this because they're going to strain their eyes. So they're just going to move on. So you're going to lose money, profit, or whatever that your design considerations are. What if we choose yellow? Now yellow and green have a great contrast, therefore this is easy on the eyes and it's visually stimulating. Let's try black. And that's okay, but it still can be a little bit harder. I just want to show you different examples of how color can interact with your font and change things. This is my favorite. This is the red with the green. This is the one that I still see on the web today. Are you going to stay around and read this for a whole paragraph? No, you're just going to move on. And yet I still see these two color combinations on web designs, or excuse me, on websites still today. Now, we may take the time to create the perfect font that we like and it's very legible, but what happens if we change the font size? Now it's hard to read. So for example, if we go back to the yellow, sure, we got the great contrast, but now we can't read the font. So you just got to remember that legibility and color go hand in hand, and one cannot rule out the other. Now, let's say, for example, that we're not very good on color, or maybe we're not good on picking the right font. Well, I have some great websites to introduce you to. So let me pull these up. First one is the MSDN Microsoft.com, the Wheel of Color. And this is great. This talks about color basics. It talks about the color wheel, the primary colors, secondary colors, as you can see here, tertiary colors, analogous, complementary colors. This is actually great for restoration pictures, just a side thing to say. And split complementary colors. So this is a great article on color basics if you want to learn. So it's MSNDN, Microsoft.com, ENUS Library, BB, and there it is, 263947. Another thing that you can go to, another more popular thing you can explore is Kuler, Adobe.com. So KULER.adobe.com, and then you would sign in. I've already signed in. Basically, you can explore and it'll open up some different themes here. You just give it a second. There we go. And you can see how people have designed certain colors, and if you like them, you can hover over it and you can save it to your favorites. You can download it. You can use it in Photoshop with the swatches, which is really nice. There's some information about it. So for example, 1900 joules, we can go to edit, and you can see the colors in a bigger view, and you can see down here the RGB values and the hexadecimal values. And if you wanted to change one, you can change the color and see how this would work with the other colors. So this is a great tool to use if you're deficient in figuring out which colors will work. So if we go back to Explore, you can look at most popular, most used, and then random ones. You can also create some if you would like to. And you can choose different rules that we were talking about in the Microsoft article, complementary colors, compound colors, and then you can also learn about colors and shades and things of that sort. Lastly, which is good for CSS, but also another great tool is called Typesetter.org. Here you can choose the font. Remember, we're talking about Verdana is a good web font, and you can see an example down here. You can compare that to, let's say, Times New Roman. You can obviously see how this would not be good on the web. And you can also change the font size, the leading, tracking of all those sorts, so you can see different things. So this is another great tool. So this is 3 great tools to use when designing your website or actually for print. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about the character panel.